Hi, my name is Jake. Now let's talk music. Alright, so today is the. Oh, it actually just hit midnight, so it's technically the 22nd. But this video will be coming out on the 22nd. And I'm sorry that I didn't have a video. I know at least today, well, yesterday, which is the 21st, and I don't think I had one for Friday or Thursday. I might be wrong about the Thursday one, but I had some personal stuff going on, so I didn't drop all all those days, I don't think, but I'm back. Um and yes, we finished the J. Cole series and I at first I was like, what am I gonna talk about, you know? There's not a lot of brand new albums coming out. But I was like, you know what? What if I just started getting into like some of my favorite albums that came out earlier before I had even started this channel, or even some of the albums that did come out in that time that I just didn't go over at that time. Which I wanted to start with Alligator Bites Never Heal. Now, I will say this, my first reaction to this getting nominated for rap album of the year, I was mad. And I do have some rightful reasons why I should be mad because even though I truly love this album, I still do not think it's a top 5 rap album from this year. But even with like how angry I was that this got put up over something I laid down my life for you, something like Blue Lips, something like Dark Times, it's just at the same time I can't like sit here and say that this also doesn't at the same time, like if it wasn't such a good year of hip hop, like this wouldn't deserve a nomination because it truly does. It's honestly one of my favorites from this year, but I personally want to put it as a Grammy nomination. And also I I get that this part won't go into the consideration, but it isn't even an album, it is a mixtape. That's why when you look at the title, it says mixtape review and not album review. So I get that that doesn't go into consideration, but at the same time, for me, I got to think about like that. It's best rap album of the year, but I get why they put this in consideration for that because it honestly does feel like an album. It's the fact that she said, no, this is a mixtape. This isn't an album. And it's like, other than the fact of how many different rapping styles she tackles within this album, it truly feels like a debut album for her, which it wasn't. It was a mixtape, which honestly that makes me excited to see like okay, she's saying this is a mixtape. She doesn't deem this as like good enough for her debut album, which she said is coming in 2025. So that's making me like sit here and like, oh my god, what does she have planned for that? Because I love this. I mean, I will say this: one of the songs off of this made it into one of my top rap songs of this year. Another one could have, but I feel like it was really the one that was like it had to make it, and that was "Denial Is a River." I will say it made it into my top 25 rap songs video. I won't say where, but it is there. And I will also say this. Catfish, even though it didn't make it into my top 25, it is a honorable mention. So I will talk about the song in that video, but it didn't. It seemed to me with some of the like great songs that have came out this year, I couldn't justify putting it into a top 25. But it did need to be mentioned because honestly, it's an amazing rapping performance, and the hook is just it. It gets ingrained into your brain, and it makes you want to keep coming back to that song. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm not actually sitting here talking about the mixtape. I'm just talking about my top 25 songs of top 25 rap songs of 2025 instead of like actually sitting and talking about this mixtape as a whole, which I love this, man. Like I I mean, honestly, I will say this. It does kind of seem lopsided in terms of quality to me personally because I think some of the best work came at the beginning and it starts to fade away towards the end. I will say this though. Altima, even though it was a TikTok song and got famous because of TikTok, that shit is still amazing. I also love Boom Bap, which I'll get more into that. But we start off the album with Stankapoo, and her first words that you hear is, "Let's start this from the end," and it's like it truly felt like it could have started as like this loop for an album, like just kind of some like Igor, you know, how it's the perfect loop. Like that's where my brain went when I first heard that line. It isn't, and I don't know. I I would have to like listen to it on repeat for that to see if that is the true thing. But I don't think so. I could be wrong though. I mean, um, uh, but yeah, it's honestly a great opener to the album and truly sets the tone. But I don't truly think that it's a loop album like Igor is, but it's still an interesting opening line. Then you get into Bullfrog, which another great rapping performance. And honestly, my favorite part about this song is the beat. Like when you listen to that, you're just like you just sit there like you start grooving with it's an infectious beat. Then you get into Boiled Peanuts, and it's kind of the same thing where it's another like infectious beat, and then you get like this. I don't know how to like describe it in my own words, but it's like funny, but at the same time, it's like you start getting like a stank face. Like it looks like a stank face, but you're like you're getting into it. It's truly one of the albums that I can't sit still and listen to because I have to keep like grooving with the infectious beats. Then you move into Denial as a River, and you get her talking to like this one girl, which I've never listened to a Doechii album before this or Doechii project, but she mentions like how they had talked before in one of Doechii's older projects, and it really sets up for this great like storytelling song, like talking about where she's been and like what's been happening to her since her last project, which honestly I might have to listen to that project now. Like I've been thinking about it, but I never like was like, you know what, I gotta listen to this, you know, because of everything off of this album. I gotta listen to this, which I sometimes do that, but I've waited, you know, but I think I probably will listen to her previous projects, but I will say that Denial is a River is the best song off of this whole track list. You get a great rapping performance, and then like towards the end you get this like you start hear her getting like angry and agitated when talking to this person, and then they go through this breathing exercise, and it just it feels so like weird listening to it, but at the same time it feels like genius for the end of the track. Then you move into Catfish, which another infectious beat, and then honestly my favorite hook off of this whole album, where it's like it it gets like stuck in your head. Like I remember the first time I listened to this, I was listening to the whole album like straight to finish, and that just kept going on in my head. I I was like, oh, I want to go back to this song, but I listened to the whole album, and the three songs I played the most off of this album is Boiled Peanuts, The Nile is a River, and Catfish. Like that's why I say that these are the it's like kind of lopsided in the fact that I think the beginning has the most like the best work. But still, even going on in the track list, I feel like there's like maybe one or two misses, but altogether it's a great track list. Uh I wasn't a big fan of the style of Skip. It is it's just not for me personally. But yeah, I'm not gonna stick onto that for too long. Um, it I mean it also continued on hide and seek. It's not my personal style that I listen to, but I don't see anything wrong with it. It's just I'm not gonna go back to these two songs to listen to them very often. I feel like the only time that I would listen to these songs is if I'm just listening to this whole project again. Uh, then we go into Bloom, which uh, I'm trying to remember it. I can't really remember too much from this. That's not a good or a bad thing. It's just within the track list, it's a little forgettable. I would say. I if I'm like sitting here not remembering anything from it. I did like Wait. It wasn't like a favorite off of the track list, but I would still listen to it again. Uh, Next up is Death Roll. Uh, I'm pretty sure I also like this song. I have like the whole track list and all of my likes, which I have it as a like song. Uh, Prophet. Prophet was also good, but short. That's one thing I will say about this album. There's a lot of really short songs. I mean, it you get 19 songs in only 47 minutes. Like there are a lot of shorter tracks, but each track is like they have their own like specific style and purpose within this track list. So that's why if I'm going to be listening to this whole album, that's I will listen to this whole album without a problem. But I will say I'm not gonna go out of my way to listen to something like Bloom, Hide and Seek, Skip, GTFO. Like I'm not going out of my way to listen to that. But one that I am is Boom Bap. Like it feels so weird, like hearing her going boom bap up, like over and over at the start of it. But when she actually gets into her boom bap rap style, it's actually amazing. But like it starts off so weird. All she's saying is boom bap, and then she goes. It's it's weird, but it's effective. It's an enjoyable song experience. Like you don't take it 100% serious until you like actually hear her rapping in the boom bap style. There's Nissan Altima, which it does its purpose. Like she even talks about it earlier on the track list how Top Dog Entertainment wanted her to make a song that would be made for TikTok. I think she actually talked about that on Boom Bap. I might have the wrong video. I mean wrong song, but pretty much Nissan Altima was made for TikTok. But it's still an enjoyable song experience, whereas some other TikTok songs are not. But then there's GTFO, which I wasn't a big fan of. It's like super weird. Uh, I'm trying to remember, huh? I think it was alright. I still have it as a like, but I don't think it's in any of my playlists. Um, Slide was a vibe. I do remember this. Slide was actually a vibe just listening to it. Like you're not going like super hard, like super in front, like I'm trying to think of the right word, like super in your face rap. This is a laid back, more chill song. Uh Fireflies, I like here's my thing with Fireflies. I it's not one of my favorites, but it's kind of something like hide and seek or skip, where I'll listen to it when I'm listening to the album, but I will not go out of my way to listen to the song. I'm pretty sure Beverly Hills was good. Another like chill song. Uh, and then Alligator Bites Never Heal. I'm pretty sure that it's mostly like for half of the song it's like a instrumental cut, and then you like truly don't have a lot of lyrics, which I'm looking at the song right now. There's not a lot of lyrics, so I I, I don't remember a lot about the outro, which is the title track, but yeah, and that's Alligator Bites Never Heal. Like I said, one of my favorites of this year, but like you have the like honestly the first five are amazing, and then you start to like see as it goes on it starts to taper off. Then there's like a point where you're like back in it with something like Boom Bap, something like Nissan Altima, something like Slide, and then there's just like in betweens where there's not a lot that I would go back to by my like just by itself. But I would say songs that are on my playlist: The Nile is a River, Boiled Peanuts, Catfish, Nissan Altima, Boom Bap, Slide. I think I also got Stankapoo and Bullfrog. Yeah, I got all those. But yeah, it's honestly an enjoyable album experience. Well, musical experience, not album experience because it isn't an album. But honestly, to me, it feels like an album, even though there's like no cohesive style. She's like, you see her use so many different styles, but it still comes together in a beautiful way. And I would say I would count this as an album. Like it's kind of like the same thing with if you're reading this, it's too late. Like that feels like an album because it's like a lot of R&B cuts, but since they're different stylistic R&B cuts, it's not technically an album, and there's other than the like R&B cuts, there's no real concept towards that. But there feels like there's a concept like hidden underneath, but it's not really obvious. So that's probably why it wasn't said as a album. Still very enjoyable, and I would recommend people to listen to it. One of my favorite projects that came out this year. All right, so the future of this channel, like what's to come. Uh, Honestly, when I'm sitting here thinking, I can't think of anything impactful that came out this Friday. I mean, there's the Lana SOS Deluxe. Uh, there's the 2014 Fort Hills Drive 10th anniversary tracks. We got them a week after they officially came out on his inevitable website. Like, I'm not gonna pay when I can get the songs literally in 1 week. It's just it's not worth. Um, but yeah, I think the only thing that I'll talk about from this Friday is the Lana SOS Deluxe. I looked at the track list with the songs that are on the deluxe and the songs that are from SOS. It's almost 2 hours, so a lot. But I'm I'm excited for it though. You know, I get to re-listen to SOS. It's been a while since I heard that album. I truly enjoyed it the first time though. Uh, but I get to re-listen to it. I actually remember the first time I listened to that album. The same day I listened to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill for the first time. I was literally in this kitchen baking with my grandma, and I was like, man, I just want to listen to some music. So I popped in a headphone. First thing I listened to was The Miseducation of Miss Lauryn Hill, and then I listened to SOS, which both are great albums. One is obviously greater than the other, but still. Um, like I talked about at the beginning of the video, I also want to do like album reviews for some of my favorite albums of this year, which there will also be two videos that come out before the end of the year, which is my top 25 rap songs and my top 10 rap albums of 2024. Uh, so those two will come out before the year ends. Also, I'm thinking that for the 24th and 25th, I will listen to two just Christmas albums, which one I do have to do. It's like when I think of a Christmas album, I think of it. It's the Michael Bublé. So one of those days I'll do the Michael Bublé album. And I'm probably also gonna do the Mariah Carey one, which is most notably known for All I Want for Christmas Is You. Like, it doesn't matter like what album or what music comes out in December, she takes over the charts with that song. So yeah. That's why December there's not a lot of great music that truly comes out. But I actually couldn't tell you an album that will be coming out the 27th. I like other than the Lana album, I didn't know anything that was coming out this Friday. Other than that, I mean, I know on my phone I have like a thing that tracks upcoming albums by the week. Uh oh, dang. So this Friday there was the Lana SOS album. There was Lucky Her by Mozzie. I'm not gonna do anything for that. Hidden in Plain Sight by Boldy James. Dude, isn't that Boldy James' like fourth album this year? That's insane. And then YNS Deluxe by Quez Ruthless. Don't know who that is. Uh, is there anything for January 2025 put up yet? No, but oh, official track list and album cover came out for Lil Baby's album Wham, which also there is supposed to be a second Lil Baby album that will come out in 2025. I, honestly, I could care less. His last album was uh kind of trash. So far for January of 2025, we have Wham, the third, Balloonerism by Mac Miller, the 17th. Uh, the 24th, there's Hurry Up Tomorrow by The Weeknd, and The Party Never Ends Deluxe by Juice World. And then the 31st, we have Deep Thoughts by Lil Durk. And I think, yeah, Navy album by Roddy Ricch comes out Friday, February 21st. So that's actually the day after my grandma's birthday. So that's pretty cool. But other than that, I have nothing else that I know is coming out in the upcoming year. There's a lot of projections for albums that should come out, but nothing official. But yeah, uh, well, I mean, no big albums other than Hurry Up Tomorrow. Uh, I think there's a lot of hype around Balloonerism because Mac Miller, he's a really big name. But honestly, a lot of people aren't really caring about the Lil Baby album. Honestly, I have no expectations for the Lil Durk album. And the Roddy Rich album, there's two songs that we have from that I think so far, which Survivor's Remorse. I love that song. That was one of my most played songs from this year actually. It wasn't in my top five, but it was up there. Okay, this video is actually getting pretty long, so I'm gonna cut myself off because I think I've been yapping for about 30 minutes. Um, until next time, peace.